KWT slaying.
What if the truth was never lost, only buried? For centuries, historians, scholars, and even colonial records have confirmed what many tried to silence. The original Israelites were a black people scattered across continents but never erased. Their skin was dark, their customs ancient, and their covenant with Yah eternal. This journey uncovers how the Spanish and Portuguese Jews, described as dark-skinned, Semitic, shared one bloodline. Chased by the Inquisition, many fled to Portugal, then beyond, preserving their heritage across borders. But the story doesn't end in Iberia. Across from West Africa, black Jews built synagogues, kept Torah, and passed down the laws of Moses. The Limba in southern Africa, the Igbo in Nigeria, the Beta Israel in Ethiopia, tribes across the continent boldly declared, "We are the children of Israel." These aren't isolated claims. These are voices rising from the dust, connected by oral histories, Torah traditions, and the unbroken rhythm of their identity. No such legacy exists among European Jews. No centuries of tribal witness, no matching traditions, no trace of ancient covenant keeping. Maps, art, and archaeology tell the same story. The Israelites were scattered, enslaved, and displaced, but never lost. The world always knew who they were. Their presence was visible, their customs alive, their story intact. This book doesn't speculate. It confirms the Israelites were black, bound by blood, culture, and covenant to the Most High. This is not just history, it's restoration. The truth was never destroyed, only buried beneath centuries of deception. Get your copy of They Always Knew We Were Israelites today, available now on Amazon.com.
Shalom, family. Shalom, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. Minister Tayu, say hi to the family.
Shalom, family. How y'all doing tonight?
So, family, we're going to be covering some news I think is very prophetic. I told y'all when 2026 kick off, everything's going to start moving very fast. And it looks like it is, right? Like I say, eat the meat, spit out the bone. I don't claim to be a prophet. I just give you what I see, prophetically speaking, right? So we're going to look at some of the news today. We're going to get some comments on this stuff because I'm going to tell you, for me, just what I'm seeing, I hope your bag's packed. I ain't setting no dates, okay? I'm just saying that's how close it is to me, the way these things are kicking off now. Hey, anything could happen. Anything could happen. Okay. So, who that? I got Sister Shonda out of bed. But anyway, let's look at some of this news today. We're gonna discuss it and look at prophetically how all of this stuff might fit. Got Big Red up, Doug out. I got everybody up tonight. All I gotta wait now. Where's Minister Dante at? I'm Dante. You out?
Where Karis at? Is he in there?
Yeah, what Karis? Karis is sure he probably asleep. He got to go to work in the morning. All right, so let's look at some of this stuff.
The United States of America has seized the Russian-flagged oil tanker. Big things happening right now in the North Atlantic. It's happening right next to the UK and Iceland. The USA has seized the Russian-flagged tanker. The vessel was accused of transporting Venezuela oil in violation of US sanctions. Some crazy stuff happening right now. What is Russia going to do now? And this vessel was accompanied by Russian battle ships and a submarine. The vessel was accompanied by Russian battleship and submarine, but the US still executed the board of the vessel. They've seized it officially. This is major, this is big, this is scary. What's going to happen right now? Okay, what's happening, everybody? Hope you're doing good. Thank you very much for stopping. I appreciate you. It's always a great pleasure to discuss with you. This is going to be very quick, and I want you to know exactly what's happening. The US says seized the Russian flag oil tanker. Okay, now this tanker is known as the Bella 1. Okay, so the Bella 1 basically is part of the ghost ships. That's what America calls it. The USA believe that some of these fleets, a dark fleet of ships go to Venezuela in breach of the sanction they've placed on Venezuela. They go to Venezuela, they get Venezuela's oil in spite of the sanction, and they sell it to the international market. Now, the United States of America has decided to stop that. Now, what is the particular situation with this specific vessel? Now, this vessel has been scouted for the longest time. The vessel was called apparently Bella. That was the name of the vessel. We made a video about it. You're going to watch it just now. This is actually happening right now. That's why we had to tell you this live. This is big, fellas. You think Venezuela's Maduro is big? This is big. So let me start over again. The United States of America has seized the Russian flag oil tanker. It's called the Marinera, but they say formally it was called the Bella 1. They've accused the vessel of transporting Venezuela's oil in violation of US sanctions. The United States of America sanctioned Venezuela, especially the oil sector. Why? Because Venezuela refused to work with America. Therefore, America said, from now on, you cannot sell your oil in the international market anymore. Any person from the USA who tries to buy anything related to oil with Venezuela or do any deals will be sanctioned. Those are sanctions that are direct, primary sanctions. Secondary sanctions, anybody from another country, from another nation, another company that's not US, that's willing to buy or do any business with Venezuela related to oil will be sanctioned as well. How? So anything they use that has anything to do with America will be blocked. Their asset to the US will be blocked. Their houses, their money, whatever will be blocked. If you use anything like credit card that's linked to American banks, you will lose access to it. If you have anything to do with an American entity, that American entity will reject you, because if they continue serving you with whichever service they're providing for you, America will sanction them. Now, some people have lost access to email address and stuff because they were under sanctions. That's exactly what's happening. Now, let's get on to track. This tanker was going to Venezuela. It had no oil. But between Venezuela and the Caribbean, there's a blockade done by the United States of America. The army or the naval army, the Navy of the US has made a blockade in the Caribbean, disallowing anybody from going into Venezuela. Now, this Bella 1 was going into Venezuela and was seen by the Americans. Once they tried to come to it, it ran away in the seas, in the deep seas. They tried to board the vessel coming again. This is the American Coast Guard trying to get onto the vessel, but the people in the vessel refused to allow them into the vessel. They left. The vessel was unmarked. Unmarked means apartheid, or has no nation to it. So normally vessels have an identity, like a number and a flag. signifying where the vessel comes from. This one had none. But as it ran into the sea or fled into the sea, a few moments later, they started repainting the vessel in the sea. And they repainted a Russian flag on the vessel. And when they did that, America continued to pursue the vessel. Russia sent a diplomatic message saying, do not pursue this vessel because it is affiliated or belongs to us. It's registered to Russia. It is a civilian vessel with the freedom of navigation in international waters. So Russia gave that vessel protection. Number two, Russia sent naval ships and a submarine to accompany the vessel, hoping that America will be deterred. Well, they followed the vessel. Initially, it looked like nothing was going to happen. The vessel arrived right between the UK and Iceland. That's when it was stopped by the American army and they boarded the vessel. Now, this is big, this is major, this is scary. The location of the Caesar, it has happened right now as we're speaking, North Atlantic between Iceland and Scotland. That's where the American have boarded the vessel. So it's a major diplomatic fallout right now, a Russian reaction right now. Russia strongly condemned the seizure, calling it a violation of international maritime laws. You know, it's crazy. Strongest term possible, condemnation, calling it a violation of international maritime law. You cannot do this. The vessel is registered to us. The vessel has a Russian flag. You cannot board the vessel. So initially the vessel was called Bella 1. That was the name of the vessel. But as it fled, it wrote a new name, Marinera, and with the Russian flag. Now the reaction of the Russians again, they claim that the US has no legal authority to use force against a vessel lawfully registered under another country's jurisdiction. Okay, this is like taking somebody, same thing they've done to Venezuela, taking the president, taking him to the US to go and make him, explain himself. Number three, Russia Transport Ministry emphasized that the tanker had a valid permit to sail under its flag. So the big question is, where was the Russian soldiers? Apparently, they were not very, very close to the vessel. They were there, accompanying the vessel, but not very close. Intelligence service from the US and the UK apparently saw the submarines and stuff. Now, has the United States done this by itself? Many experts don't believe this is possible. We're going to talk about this just now. The US position on this one is justified. They say they justify the action as enforcement of sanction against Venezuela oil export. They accuse the vessel of transporting oil numerous times in the past in spite of the sanction. They framed the tanker as part of the dark fleet. So the open fleet is not operating. The dark fleet is operating and evading the sanction. Number three, US say they coordinated this with allies. So like I said earlier, they didn't do it by themselves, including the United Kingdom during the operation. So as the tanker fled and left the Caribbean, it went all the way between Iceland and UK. I can't show you the map right now, but very soon we'll be able to do that with you. We'll be able to show you things as we speak. And they intercepted the vessel over there after the Russians sent battlefield and a submarine to go and protect the vessel. Now, the UK helped the US with intelligence, with airplane, seeing the sea, to get what they needed to support so they can board the vessel. Now remember, the UK and Russia are not in a very good term right now. Not at all. They don't get along. In fact, America and Russia are sort of getting along better than the UK with Russia. Now, number two, the UK is not openly for what the United States have done in Venezuela. They've condemned it. Now, the crux of the matter is, how can the UK condemn Trump on abducting the Venezuelan president and in the same token help Trump board the vessel that belongs to the Russian? That's politics for you. So I can disagree with you on this one topic and still help you on this other topic. Or maybe I feel like our alliance is not working very well. So let me help you over here, even though we're fighting over Ukraine. Let me help you here so I can. Some people then believe the UK is probably sucking.
So, Minister Taib, let me ask you a question. Does it sound like, I mean, maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist, but it sounds to me like Russia, took that fishing pole and put the bait on the hook and put the hook in the water and the U.S. bit on it. I'm just saying, I mean, what you think?
So I mean that the tanker was didn't have oil, right? But it was a Russian tanker.
But
I
look
mean,
what
that-
happened. First, it came in unmarked, no flag, right? Then, when they started getting pursued, they went out into the water. They painted it, put a new name on it, and put a Russian flag on it. And then Russia said, "No, you can't touch it." I'm just
Wait, but it was really a Russian. It was Russian members on that boat,
yeah, but it wasn't under their flag initially.
right?
Then they put the flag on it. Then they put a new name on it, and now it's under Russian Russian protection. I don't know. Sound like they baited it and dared them to bite the hook.
Well, yeah, the fact that there wasn't any oil in those tankers. I mean, there was another agenda. I think they were just testing out Trump's military plan and whether or not he would actually stop the a Russian tanker. Because I mean, they stopped them after they put the flag up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But they
And then
were.
they went into
My
the-
understanding is they were escorted by submarines, Russian
They were.
submarines. Yeah,
But you know it is. They said that the submarine and the military weren't nearby. They were just far away enough for the fish to bite the hook. I mean, that's what it looks like to me, right? And to me, it's like, here's the other thing. So they were in international waters when they finally got pulled over and boarded, right?
Well,
so
see,
they were
now-
between Iceland. They were between Iceland and I forgot what other islands. I think Britain. I think they were between Iceland and Britain or something. And that's when they got boarded in international waters, which they can't do because the U.S. and Britain has no jurisdiction.
Well, that's what
Right.
gets me is this this mindset of policing the world when you don't have jurisdiction to police the world.
Now
know,
watch this. Oh yeah, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Trump basically raises the middle finger to everybody. He's like, he says, "I do what I want when I want," and who gonna stop me? And I mean, there's a video you might have it where he said that, right? He basically said, "Nobody can stop me but me."
This is a mess. I'm telling y'all, watch this. I'm telling you, man, if this thing don't kick off in the next few days to months, I don't know what to tell you. It is. I'm telling you, it's looking like prophecy coming to pass. And, I'll talk a little more about that, but watch this. Tell me what y'all think of this one.
Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? A Russian parliament leader said Russia will attack the U.S. if the United States does not return a Russian oil tanker that was taken in international waters. Specifically, this is what was said. To attack with torpedoes to sink a couple of American Coast Guard boats. Normally, they guard their shore several thousand kilometers away from it. I think the United States, which is in a kind of euphoria of impunity after the special operation in Venezuela, can only be stopped now with such a click on the nose. U.S. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, those captured aboard the ship will be put on trial. Russia says, no, we want our citizens back, or we are going to attack your military. Whew, man. All right, family, give me a thumb.
We want our people back, else we're gonna attack your military. I'm just saying what it looks like to y'all. Man, it looked like Jeremiah 50, 51, right? It looked like the 10 horns. We're gonna talk about that. I'm telling y'all. What do you think, Minister Tay?
Well, I mean, from my research, the Russian Navy really wouldn't stand a chance against the U.S. Navy. So I would guess that Russia would have a different strategic plan. I know Russia has more submarines than other Navy vessels, but yeah, I mean, I think America's edge is this NATO alliance as well, right? Russia doesn't have Warsaw anymore, so yeah, this, you know, I mean, it might be big talk for Russia, but if they had to do something, they can't do it alone, you know, without Warsaw, and half of Warsaw has joined NATO, so Russia and that other nation right next to them, I forgot their name. They're the only ones. Well, maybe like 3 or 4 countries over there by Russia that's allied with Russia today. Belarus, and one other that I know of at least. So they don't even have an alliance anymore. So I mean, BRICS. I mean, they probably could form an alliance with some of the BRICS members, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you listen to the older videos of Putin, they don't plan on a kinetic war with NATO.
Well, that's
they plan on nukes.
Well, that's my point, right? That's my point. If there was going to be some kind of conventional war, I don't think they can do it. But if it's all missiles, right, then I think Russia might have the edge, because I think Russia's missiles are more advanced and faster than the U.S. missiles.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Russia goes in and take all of Ukraine. Russia starts stopping, NATO allies ships going through the Black Sea.
See, now that right there,
tit for tat.
I don't know about that. If they do that, you know it's on, right? So that was my point. I don't think they militarily that's almost a conventional move, right? And they're not positioned for that, right? To do tit for tat. Now they could do it by proxy, right, through the Yemen warriors and Iran. They could do it that way, but a direct taking.
I think they would, because look what the U.S. has done with Venezuela and what they've done to their ship. Right, because they're ignoring international law. Right. I'm like, so,
yeah, but you know, who's the bigger guy on the block? That's the question, right? I mean, if you let's say basically that would be equivalent to Russia, you know, if they were individual people boxing, and so you're boxing someone that's 15 feet tall and you're only 8 feet tall. You know, you might not win. Unless you get the equalizer, right? Or the hammer, like some call it.
I got some more stuff to show y'all, and when I get to it, we're gonna revisit this question.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm just thinking about, like, it's our nature, payback, right? Eye for an eye. That's our thinking by default. But when you think about international politics, it gets more complex, right? You got to be ready to go all out. Some of us crazy enough to do it. I think Trump crazy enough to do it, right? To go all out.
Oh yeah.
But not everybody. So,
cause Trump already said he's not going to heaven. So I mean, what he got to look?
I know.
I'm like that dude. But anyway, let's continue. We're gonna look at some of this stuff and build on the news, because I think y'all will get to see what I'm seeing as we continue.
For the very Republic of Venezuela.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Before coming to the substance of our statement today, I think we need to make an institutional clarification. We note with concern that an attempt is being made to present to the Security Council a supposed representative of civil society, a person whose public career trajectory bears the hallmarks of sustained funding from foreign governments and transnational corporations. This has been the case for years, as well as participation in processes of political destabilization and the promotion of institutional breakdown in her own country. The instrumental use of this person to legitimize narratives of confrontation, justify the use of force, or minimize violations of international law does not contribute in any way to the purposes of this Council or to the strengthening of multilateralism. On the contrary, it erodes the credibility of the debates and distorts the Security Council's mandate entrusted with the maintenance of international peace and security. Mr. President, on January 3rd, 2026 is a date of profound historical significance, not only for Venezuela, but for the international system as a whole. On that day, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela was the target of an illegitimate armed attack, lacking any legal justification by the government of the United States of America, which included bombing of our territory, the loss of civilian and military lives, the destruction of civilian infrastructure, essential infrastructure, and the kidnapping of the constitutional president of the Republic, Nicolas Maduro Moras, and the First Lady Cilia Flores. Venezuela comes before this Council today with a deep conviction that international peace can only be sustained if international law is respected without exception, without double standards, and without selective interpretations. The events of January 3rd constitute a flagrant violation of the UN Charter perpetrated by the US government, in particular the violation of the principle of sovereign equality of states, of the absolute prohibition of the use or threat of use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state, as enshrined in Article 2, Paragraph 4. And a violation of the duty to settle disputes by peaceful means. Similarly, these acts also seriously violate the Geneva Conventions and its protocols, as indiscriminate attacks were carried out against the civilian population and assets. International human rights law has also been violated, particularly the right to life, personal integrity, and security. Of particular seriousness is the kidnapping of the President of the Republic by the government of the United States of America, which constitutes a direct violation of an essential norm of the international legal order, namely the personal immunity of heads of state in office. This immunity is not an individual privilege. It is an institutional guarantee that protects the sovereignty of states and the stability of the international system. Its disregard not only affects Venezuela, but also sets an extremely dangerous precedent for all states represented in this chamber, regardless of their size, power, or alliances. Mr. President, General Assembly Resolution 3314 clearly defines as an act of aggression the bombing of the territory of one state by the armed forces of another state, as well as the invasion or occupation, even without formal annexation. The events we are denouncing here unequivocally fit this definition. In 2004, the International Court of Justice affirmed that occupation exists when a state exercises effective control, even without formal annexation or the continuous presence of troops. Security Council Resolution 242, for its part, emphasizes that the acquisition of territory by force is inadmissible, while General Assembly Resolution 2625 establishes that the territory of a state shall not be subject to military occupation as a result of the use of force in contravention of the UN Charter. Allowing such acts to go without an effective answer would amount to normalizing the replacement of law by might, while eroding the very foundations of the collective security system. Today, it is not only Venezuela's sovereignty that is at stake, the credibility of international law, the authority of this organization, and the validity of the principle that no state can set itself up as a judge, party, and executor of the world order are also at stake.
All right. So one of the things that I see here, and you give me your opinion, is to tell you, it seems to me that what Trump wants to do is to destroy the rule-based order, is what they call it, right? The rule-based order, and he's doing a very good job at it. And when we look at this whole thing with Venezuela, it is the prerequisites for them going more towards that, trying to keep the unipolar order, right? So what do you think of that? And in terms of like what we see in the scriptures, particularly.
I mean, well, it seems like it's a desperation move, right? If we look at the economy, we look at gold and silver going to record numbers. The U.S. dollar is in trouble, and I think that's what it comes down to. What Trump is doing is really overt colonialism, right? He's not faking it. He's not trying to do it politically, right? Like France was trying to do. So-called allies, so-called my buddies and my partners. What's their favorite word? Partners. We're partners, right? It's called coercion, but yeah, they call them partners. And Trump said, forget that. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. And that's what he does. And that's what colonialism is. What yours is mine, and what mine is mine. Right? And I mean, but prophetically, I mean, if we are to take what we see at face value, then we may be leaning toward where the 10 horns come to power, and they remove the Mystery Babylon the Great, the Mother Harlots, right? We could be setting that stage up, but there's some things that don't feel organic about what's happening, right? So these people are playing chess. We're trying to figure out how to play chess against them, but they make up new rules as they go. So that's how I see it.
So one thing we do know, and let's look at this right quick. All right. So talking about the woman that rides the bees, let's go from 1 to 2. Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Now, that's with the wealth and the seduction of the money and the influence and power that the U.S. has. So for me, what I'm seeing happening is this whore wants to maintain control of the beast. Right? She wants to control the beast, continue to ride it, and influence it. Whereas the horns are saying, no, we want a multipolar order. Now, as we continue, because we just saw here with the Venezuela ambassador to the UN was saying that he's destroying the international law. He's destroying the international rule of law. Now, give me a 1 if you agree with that statement. Give me a 2 if you don't. By Trump ignoring international law, taking Maduro, taking their wealth, right? He's doing away with any international agreements, any international law, and he's going rogue, right? He's pretty much being a cowboy again. All right. So since we all agree with that's what obviously Trump is doing. All right. I want y'all to understand that Revelation 17, 1 to 2 says that, the kings of the earth, which is all of these leaders, right, committed fornication with her, right? And the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk, right? And so we know with the influence of America, the inhabitants are really made drunk, literally, right? So Babylon, which is the whore who's riding the beast, is the ruling power that dominates through wealth, right? Influence, seduction. Is that not America? Rather than direct
and threats
military
and coercion.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, she She has all the wealth. We watch these prophetic prophecies right here come to pass every day, where we see like the African nations, Kenya, Nigeria, they do anything to get in the favor of America, right? They want to taste her fruits, right? They want to participate in her wealth. They want to eat off of her table at any cost. We see that every day. Every nation is afraid to oppose her, but at the same time, clearly, they're feeling threatened, right? That's what the real reason for the tariffs are, right? Tariffs are not a good idea, but it's a threat. It's a blackmail tool. If you don't fall in line, if you don't stay in allegiance with us, you're going to be paying 500% in tariffs, right? For business purposes, it makes no sense, but as a coercion tool, it makes a lot of sense, right? But if you put it all together, right? Silver is at as high as $78 an ounce. Gold is at $4,500 a coin. 20 years ago, gold was $300 an ounce, right? Meaning America was doing well, right? Now, clearly her economy is unstable and she's taking action. So Trump is really trying to save the current system. As my brother said, the woman wants to maintain control of the beast that she's riding, but she's losing control. So she's trying to maintain that control. And then the 10 are going to push back.
So basically, she's a harlot because she's trading loyalty and morality, right, for power and advantage, right? So
she never had morals.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why she's a whore. Because how many times from America's foundation, she signed treaties, international agreements, and broke them all. Them all, right? That's why she's a whore. She sleep around. She'll betray you and sleep with another country tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they support these African dictators and call it democracy, right? But then you go and see someone like Ibrahim that's not going along with it. They say foul play. He's a dictator, right? But if you somebody like the woman in Tanzania, it's okay.
So basically, as that ambassador said, right, he's destroying the international rule of law, right? Now, watch this, because that's literally what they're doing. Because they want to go back to the old ways, right? What they call it, what they call it with the Catholic Church, the year of discovery or whatever was that? I know manifest destiny for America. Let's just say that, right? Back to the idea of manifest destiny, right? And so that's what America is trying to do, but the world, the international community, not going to allow it. Now, watch this, and you'll see this is exactly what's happening, is that America is moving away from the rule-based international order. She wants to be the boss. She wants to continue to control and ride the beast.
Multilateralism, the United States announced its withdrawal from over 6 international organizations, most within UN structures, drawing this response from the Secretary General spokesperson.
General regrets the announcement by the White House regarding the United States' decision to withdraw from a number of United Nations entities. As we have consistently said and underscored, assess contributions to the United Nations regular budget and the peacekeeping budget as approved by the General Assembly are legal obligations under the United Nations Charter for every member state, including the United States. All United Nations entities will go on with the implementation of their mandates as given to us by member states. The United Nations has a responsibility to deliver for all those who depend on us, and we will continue to carry out our mandates with determination.
UN entities, the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the Office of the Special Advisor on Africa, the Office of the Special Representative of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence and Conflict, the UN Conference on Trade and Development, the Peacebuilding Commission, UN Women, and the UN Population Fund, among others.
Let's pause right there real quick. Economic and social affairs, right? Because their money devalued, they're going to be stealing people's stuff, so they're not going to abide by that. Right? Special advisor on Africa, they plan on stealing Africa resources, so they can't have any treaty relationships with that. Sexual violence in conflict, they can't do that because what? They're already doing that, right? Over there in the Middle East, right? They're doing that here as well, right? And what they got planned for the future of America. Trade and development, they taking people's ships, can't be a part of that, right? Peace Building Commission can't be a part of that, even though he said he was coming to power to bring peace. Bible say peace when there is no peace.
And
UN Women,
the Department of War instead of the Department of Defense.
And UN Women, we know how you feel about women. I'm just saying, but let's continue.
All from about 66 multilateral bodies, both UN and non-UN, further adds credence to the approach that Washington has taken to international cooperation, which is essentially my way or the highway. In comparison to past U.S. administrations, the Trump, which very much supported international cooperation, even if it didn't always agree with the vast majority of how member states wanted to move multilateral institutions, the U.S. has used its political and financial leverage in the multilateral system to very much attempt to shape the system and the direction of cooperation towards a very narrow set of priorities aligned with the current administration's national interest.
Does that not sound like the whore trying to maintain control of this beast? Right? She does not want a multipolar order. But in the scriptures, we see there will be a multipolar order, right? Called the 10 horns.
The expanded list of withdrawals adds to the announcements last year by the Trump administration withdrawing from the Paris Climate Change Accord, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, and UNESCO, among others.
There are a couple of directions that the rest of the multilateral system will have to address. One is that it can't exclusively wait for the U.S. and have to, stop everything to really try and adjust to the U.S.'s needs. Multilateral cooperation will still need to take place. A lot of these bodies, whether it is UN Women, the Family and Population Agency, they still have a lot of work to do, even with reduced capacities.
All right. So when we look at what's happening, he's talking about multilateral organizations versus the U.S. Does that not sound like the whore versus the 10 horns? Minister Tate.
Oh, yeah. The whore is trying to, like I said, try to hold on to the reins, but there's a shift coming, and she's going to do her best to control the beast system. So, understand that the system, the beast itself, is going to remain in power even when the 10 take over. So the system we're experiencing now, this global unity controlled by tech and AI, that's not going anywhere. But who controls it? It's going to switch. It's going to switch to those 10 nations, right? They have 1 hour with the beast.
And so what we're seeing here is a division or a break between the Empire, right, and the rebels. Y'all remember Star Wars? Where's Sister Chantel at? Y'all remember Star Wars? The Empire versus the rebel group. And so the rebel group is going to win. The 10 horns is going to win. The whore is going to be knocked off her horse or off the beast. Now, we just saw that the Venezuela ambassador was saying that they're destroying the international rule of law, and that's true. We just saw that America is pulling away from many UN treaties now and international organizations. Now, watch this video because now you're going to see why you're going to have the 10 hate the whore and how what's happening right now, in my opinion, mind you, is the formulation of this multipolar order, which is the 10 horns against the whore, and why she's about to get her tail handed to her. I'm just saying, you read to it what you want. I know what I see. All right, so let's look at it.
Donald Trump and his regime, and they are preparing for war behind the scenes. France, Germany, many other countries in Europe, Canada, and others have made secret plans about how they will respond if the Trump regime invades Greenland. Also, we saw Denmark respond forcefully, reminding the United States that they have a doctrine. If they suspect an invasion is taking place, they will shoot first and ask questions later. Denmark, with the support of Europe, with the support of France, sending a clear message to the United States. If you invade, not only will NATO no longer exist, we are prepared to fight you. We are prepared to go to war. This is not what you did with Venezuela, where you took out Maduro and installed Maduro, another Maduro puppet, Delcy Rodriguez. Denmark, France, and Germany is ready for war with you, Donald Trump. That's the message that is being sent right now. I'm going to show you a clip in a moment of French President Emmanuel Macron, as well as the French ambassador to the United Nations. But first, I want to share what Reuters is reporting as well, that European allies, including France and Germany, are coordinating their response in case the U.S. moves to take control of Greenland. So France is working with its partners on a plan. How will it respond if the U.S. invades? They're getting prepared. They're taking it very seriously. Then Denmark put out the following statement. Denmark will shoot first and ask questions later over Greenland. Do you understand that language better, Donald? Is that the mafia language that you like? They're going to shoot first and ask questions later. If you want a war with NATO, it'll be disbanded and they will go to war with you. If that's what you think about your Donroe doctrine in controlling the Western Hemisphere. Let's take a look at how it's reported by The Telegraph. Denmark will shoot first and ask questions later over Greenland. Danish soldiers will be required to shoot first and ask questions later if the United States invades Greenland under the Army's rules of engagement. On Wednesday, the Danish Defense Ministry confirmed the existence of a 1952 rule requiring soldiers to immediately counterattack invading forces without awaiting orders. The Defense Ministry also said that the rule remains enforced when asked about its status by a center-right-leaning Danish newspaper, the Berlingske. This week, Donald Trump has threatened to invade Greenland over and over again, to which Greenland said, we're not for sale. Denmark said, they're not for sale. And according to this Danish newspaper, the 1952 rule states that in the event of an invasion, the attacked forces must immediately take up the fight without waiting for or seeking orders, even if the commanders in question are not aware of the declaration of war or state of war. When approached for comment, the Danish Defense Ministry told the newspaper the order on precautionary measures for military defense in the event of attacks on the country and during war remains in full force and effect. And European allies have held these meetings about how they will respond. We want to take action. We will do so together with our European partners. A German government source also told Reuters separately that Germany was working closely together with European countries in how to respond and protect Greenland in the event of a United States invasion. This is what French President Emmanuel Macron had to say, and it should be noted as well that there was a coalition of the willing meeting that took place in Paris over the past 48 hours. It was hosted by France. The United States was there. If you take a look at this photo that was posted by Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, you will see all the way on the far right, and I think they were put there intentionally, is the United States pro-Russia delegation of Jared Kushner, Why the hell is he even involved in this? But we know that Jared Kushner's got his money-grubbing hands and the Saudis and all this crap all over it. And then we've got Steve Witkoff there as well. Here is French President Emmanuel Macron talking about what France will do in the event of a United States invasion. Here, play this clip.
Faites-vous toujours confiance? Do you still trust Donald Trump after his remarks regarding the annexation of Greenland?
There is no scenario, in my opinion, where the United States of America would be placed in a position to violate Danish sovereignty. Such a thing simply does not exist. And therefore, I cannot possibly believe that he would betray his other commitments concerning Greenland. Greenland, therefore, is a territory that falls under Danish sovereignty. This will endure. And I know that the American people will continue to move forward with us for peace and security in Europe.
Next, let me share with you how the French ambassador to the United Nations described the U.S. invasion of Venezuela. Now, just to see France, a former top ally of the United States, speak out this way against the United States at the United Nations Security Council a few years back would be unfathomable, unthinkable, impossible. But under the Trump regime, with Donald Trump declaring that he and the MAGAs and what Trump's view is that America's a predator. That's what they keep on saying. They keep saying they're predators. We're predators. And as predators, we must do what predators do and dominate the Western Hemisphere. Let's show you this clip of the ambassador to the United Nations from France. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, the military operation which has led to the capture of Nicolas Maduro runs counter to the principle of peaceful dispute resolution and runs counter to the principle of non-use of force. The proliferation of violations of the Charter of the United Nations and the violations of international law by states vested with responsibility as permanent members of the Security Council chips away at the very foundation of the international order. Contravening the principles of the Charter, including the principle of respect for independence and the territorial integrity of states, undermines the foundation of the United Nations and weakens international peace and security. France remains faithful and committed to respect for the Charter of the United Nations and of the principle of peaceful dispute resolution. We have an obligation to uphold these principles at all times and in all places. Respect for these principles is indispensable.
Now, also this week.
So I meant to tell you, what you think about this so far? It seems to me that this is, at least the way I see it, the prophetic avenue that we would expect for the 10 to have a reason to go against the whore. What do you think?
Well, I think, so, the guy, Ben Malays, right, the host, I think he's actually stretching it a bit as far as what France said, because Macron never makes bold threats unless it's late in the game. So all Macron said there was that it's unfathomable for him to imagine that the United States could ever take Greenland or that they would do such a thing. Political talk, even though, I know how Macron and them move. They would get involved, but as far as what that video said, it didn't say too much about how they feel. Yeah,
but we do have Denmark saying they shoot first, ask question later, right? And
well, definitely, yeah. And the EU is going to back Denmark. That's a fact, right? So they will side with Denmark. Now, here's the thing I've noticed after watching Trump with Venezuela. When Trump starts repeating messages over and over again of what his intentions are, take him seriously, right? So. Yeah. I did not take him that seriously with Venezuela. I'm like, who's going to attack a sovereign nation that never did you anything? Trump did it, right? He doesn't care. So you can't rule out the idea that he will actually invade Greenland, right? Because he's repeating it over and over. He's putting it out there consistently. That means he's working a plan, right? He's proven that with Venezuela. When he keeps talking about it, you got to take him seriously. Trump
Yeah,
might be.
he's not joking most of the time. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Trump don't lie. He just sounds crazy. There's a difference.
All right. Let's watch a little more.
Week, it should be noted that President Zelensky, Macron, Keir Starmer signed an important declaration of intent to deploy a future European multinational force in Ukraine, that if there were to be a deal with Russia, that Europe would commit its armed forces in the event of a Russian invasion after a peace deal. In addition, Prime Minister Carney, over the past 24 hours, meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, he described the alliance's efforts to secure peace in Ukraine and the need for robust security guarantees to increase the capabilities that our allies. Canada is quadrupling its defense spending over the next decade, part of our mission to rearm and reinvest in the Canadian forces. Now, Donald Trump's like, you see, I got Canada to raise its military budget. Look what I'm doing. Yeah, they're raising their military budget to protect against an invasion from you. Canada is preparing in the event that you, Trump regime, invade Canada. And we showed how some of the conservatives, not like conservative in theory per se, but some of the real kind of center of the line Canadian newspapers are now saying Canada should prepare for a potential war and that the United States is serious about taking over Canadian sovereignty. Now, earlier in the day yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, there she is right there, dressed like Pink Dress Lady from North Korea. She chose the exact same outfit as Pink Dress Lady. I think Caroline Leavitt's even a more ridiculous figure than Pink Dress Lady, but that's just me. I think Kim Jong-un wished that Pink Dress Lady was as propagandy, it's not even a word, was even more of a propagandist, like Caroline Leavitt. Here's what Caroline Leavitt said when she was asked by state regime media Fox about why don't you just say you're not going to invade Greenland? Like, they're an ally, Denmark's an ally. Why can't you just rule that out? Watch what Caroline Leavitt has to say. Play this clip.
Caroline, just following up on Greenland, why not rule out taking it by military force?
I know that past presidents and past leaders have often ruled things out. They've often been very open about ruling things in and basically broadcasting their foreign policy strategy to the rest of the world, not just to our allies, but most egregiously to our adversaries. That's not something this president does. All options are always on the table for President Trump as he examines what's in the best interest of the United States. But I will just say that the president's first option always has been diplomacy. Again, look at Venezuela. He tried ardently to strike a good deal with Nicolas Maduro, and he told him, I will use the United States military and you will not like it if you don't take such a deal. And look at what happened. With respect to Iran, the president said the same thing, right? He tried to have serious interest in a deal with the Iranian regime with respect to their nuclear capabilities. They were not interested. And so Operation Midnight Hammer happened, which was another remarkable military success under the leadership of this commander in chief. So the president keeps his options open, but diplomacy is always the first.
Ever wake up sweaty, freezing, or just uncomfortable? The temperature.
So what we see here, once again, is that, as my brother was saying, when Trump says he's going to do something and says it more than once, you probably should take notice of that, right? Because he's not joking when he says he wants Greenland. He's not joking when he says he wants Canada. And the way I see it, this is the excuse or the reason why the 10 horns hate the whore.
Right. I mean, when I say he doesn't lie, right, I mean in regards to when he makes a threat, right?
Yeah, a threat. Yeah.
So it's like, Don Corleone. I'm gonna make an offer that you can't refuse. This is how he moved. She's up here telling everyone that he used diplomatic means first. I have never seen that. He goes to you and he says, I'm gonna make an offer that you cannot refuse, right? You should go along. You should accept my offer, right? He put it on the table. This is how Don Corleone and all them move, right? You need to. You only got one option. I'm being polite about it, so you need to understand this is the best deal you're going to get. So you should go along with it or else. Technically, that's coercion, right? That's what he does. But diplomacy, no.
Because see, what they want to do is they want to build up the Western Hemisphere, right? They want that North American Union, and so they're trying to get all these resources and establish their power, right? Because their power comes through military force and economics.
So let me ask
economics
you,
is failing.
do you think this is really to create the North American Union that they always been talking about, or is he positioning assets, or he wants to be able to position military assets for something, a coming war that he's preparing for, right? Because ICE got what? How many billions of dollars that ICE has to, go after immigrants? I mean, really, they are the brown shirts of the Nazis, right?
Oh, yeah.
The enforcers. So why all of this money on ICE, right? Why all this effort to take land that's not theirs, right? Venezuela is really not just oil and rare earth minerals, but location. It's a strategic location right there off the Pacific, or is that Atlantic? Which one? But anyway, it's strategically positioned on the tip, so it's a good military location if you're going to position for something that's coming. Same thing with Greenland. It's a strategic location if you're fighting war and you want to control routes, you want to control assets, you want to be able to, position yourself to win a coming war. That's what it looks like.
And also, if you look at the prophecies and you look at the whore riding the beast, she wants to maintain that position. But the 10 horns don't want her to maintain that position. That's why they hate her. And that's why they're going to throw her off the reins of the beast, right? Because America controls the system. But they want a multipolar order, and the U.S. wants to keep the unipolar. And apparently that's what's happening. That's what it looks like. But let's look at this other video here.
Thank you very much. This is big stuff. And we appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault, and it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position, but they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland.
So, seems to me, this makes sense where the scriptures talk about by peace he shall destroy many. Because, you know, he's under the guise of saying he's bringing peace and order, right? But he's destroying nations and people, right?
First, the Middle East.
So I think when we look at what was happening there also, that he was giving a threat. And the threat was, you can't beat us. We had the strongest military. Look how fast we handled Venezuela. We didn't lose any lives. You know, he even said, you know, our military is, you know, can handle our enemies. In other words, you better give in, right? Sort of like the Japanese. The Japanese would say kowtow. You better kowtow. Or is that Chinese? That's Chinese, right? Chinese is kowtow, right? It's Chinese. Chinese kowtow. What do you think, Mr. Tate?
Well, every time I hear him talk, he always says, well, in regards to this topic with Venezuela, you can't run that land, so we taking it from you, and we're going to do a better job running that land. Minister Yacoba, you know that nice car you got, you're not qualified to drive it, so I'm going to take it. You know, you can't handle it, so I'm going to take it, and then people
I'm going to drive it for you.
I'm going to drive it for you, and I'm going to let you know how good it is, and everyone's going to benefit because I was able to drive your car, something you can't do. What I find interesting, though, it's really, really great, really incredible, really, really big fifth grade talk. And I was wondering for the longest, I said, did he get through college like that? But then I watched him in the 80s when he was young, and I was like, wow, he can speak. He was eloquent and well-spoken. So something changed, because now he talks like a fifth grader, but when he was younger, he could actually speak. I was surprised.
Yeah. Even when he was on Oprah, he spoke like a smart businessman.
Yeah, very intellectual, well-spoken, more complex concepts. But now we have really, really, really great ideas, really big ideas.
Could it be a clone?
I think it's Bidenism. I think he got Bidenism.
Age then, right? Age.
Well, not everybody that age got Bidenism.
That's true too. So I don't know what Bidenism is though, but
that's mental issues, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
See, senility.
Yeah. All right, so last video.
East, where a threat of assassination has collided with street fury and military alerts. A senior US senator has issued an extraordinary warning to Iran's leadership. Lindsey Graham said President Donald Trump would order the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, and the Ayatollahs if Iranian forces continue killing protesters. Well, this blunt message was made by the Republican senator during an interview on Fox News, and he framed the warning as both a threat and a promise. He said, "To the people of Iran, we stand with you." Then he turned to Tehran's clerical leadership, saying, "If you keep killing your people who are demanding a better life, Donald J. Trump is going to kill you." And Graham added 3 words that echoed across the region: help is on the way. Well, the statement landed as Iran moved into full military readiness. Several reports confirmed that hundreds of units from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the regular army were placed on the highest alert. Senior commanders said forces were hands on the trigger, ready to respond to any hostile move by the United States or Israel.
Actions or statements raised by figures such as the Prime Minister of the Zionist regime or some radical American officials regarding Iran's internal affairs amount, under international norms, to nothing more than incitement to violence, incitement to terrorism, and incitement to killing.
Inside Iran, the crisis has escalating. Protests erupted last month after the rial collapsed to record lows, triggering panic across markets and the resignation of the central bank chief. Well, since then, demonstrations have now spread to 92 cities in 27 provinces. Rights groups report at least 36 protesters have been killed and more than 2,000 have been detained nationwide.
So we see the threats going on, and now, threatening Iran. Right now, we know who he's threatening Iran for. It's the people in the Middle East, right?
The nation you cannot mention.
Yeah, the nation you cannot mention. And we understand that that Iran was on the list of those nations that was supposed to be taken out, right? What was the guy name of the General Clark, Wesley Clark, I think it was?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and Iran is the last one on the list, right? So they got to go, right? They got to go. And so to me, when you understand the scriptures and you look at what we call canon and the pseudepigrapha and stuff like that, we get to see, like, for instance, 2 Ezra 15 possibly getting started, right? 2 Ezra 15 has to do with the battle in the Middle East, right? So one thing, I'm gonna read these few scriptures, get Minister Tillou comments, and then we'll call it quits. All right. So Revelation 17:16-17. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these will hate the harlot, make her desolate and naked, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For Yahuwah has put into their hearts to fulfill his purpose, to be of one mind and to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of Yahuwah are fulfilled. Now, we can see this, right? Because America wants a unipolar order. The rest of the world wants a multipolar order, right? The 10 horns, right? The 10 wants a multipolar order. The whore wants to continue controlling the beast herself. So what we're seeing here is that the stage seems to be set for the whore to be invaded by her former allies. Can we say France? Can we say Denmark? Can we say Canada? Can we say Greenland? Can we say the European Union? Can we say Latin America? I'm like, see, he's also pulling away from the international norms, which is the United Nations international agreements and treaties. Right? And he's not following international law. Why? Because he sits a queen and they ain't going to see any loss of children. That's what the scripture says, right? She sits a queen. She's not going to see any loss of children. Did he not say that we have not lost any military guys when we went into Venezuela? I'm like, I'm sorry. It just seems to me these prophecies are hitting off the page. I just don't see why most people don't see it. And let me have this final scripture, and then I'll let Minister Tell comment, and we'll shut it down. Obadiah 7. All the men in your confederacy shall force you to the border. This is talking about Esau, right? And they still Esau, right? Rome is Esau, all right? So if y'all don't know that, go watch some more videos. All the men in your confederacy shall force you to the border. The men at peace with you shall deceive you and prevail against you. Those who eat your bread shall lay a trap for you. No one is aware of it. Literally, we have the scenario in place, right? The political, let's say, formation for these prophecies to come to pass, right? These things are in place to happen. I'm like, it's a perfect scenario. Be honest with you, if I was going to write a story about how the 10 horns were going to betray and fight against Mystery Babylon, this is pretty good, right? This sort of the scenario I would think of, similar anyway. What do you think, Mr. Tell?
Well, normally I would say what's going on would be scripted if it wasn't for the prophecies, right? Because the prophecies say that the 10 are going to hate the whore. But we see Trump and his whole team, they continually state that they might leave NATO, right? That they don't see the value of being part of NATO, right? But if they leave NATO, they isolate themselves, and now they don't have any friends to back them. So I mean, that's really not a wise strategy, right? When you always need allies, you need someone watching your back, you need someone protecting you, you need someone moving with you. But he wants to potentially get out of NATO. You've listed all the 66 other international groups
Agreements,
he left. Agreements. Yep. So he's isolating himself. This really doesn't make sense. But then those who were his allies in NATO, if he leaves, they're going to say, well, there's no value in us staying, being positive with them because they're trying to run the whole show, right? Like you were saying, it's a last ditch effort to be king of the hill, and it's not going to work, but that looks like what he wants. And I think he thinks he has enough ability and power to do it on his own, right? To run the world on his own. And the rest of those nations are going to be like, well, what about our interests, right? I mean, this is why it's a huge mistake to even talk about leaving NATO from his perspective, but because your allies become your enemy, right? It's really not a wise move. And I would tend to think something like that is scripted if it wasn't for those scriptures you read where the Most High said he going to put it in their heart to do his will. So
here's the thing. Thank you, Minister Tell. So the reason why I wanted to do this right away, because y'all know on Fridays, right? They do a lot of stuff on Fridays, just like they invaded Venezuela on Friday. If you want to look for some major events that's going to happen on Friday and go over the weekend so it don't affect the stock market. So I don't know what's going to happen, but it just seems to me that a lot of the puzzle pieces are in place for the invasion of Babylon. How quick that's going to happen, we don't know. Will they come to some kind of meeting of the minds? Who knows, right? The way things are going right now, it looks all downhill to me, right? But we'll see, right? Because one thing we do know, Trump is on a conquering through peace goals, right? He's going for a conquering and a conquering. By the peace shall destroy many. Now, my question is, once again, is he the Antichrist? I don't know, but it's starting to look like a duck to me. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, let's assume he's not the Antichrist. What would the Antichrist look like? Mr. Tell you, let me ask you
what
that.
he doing.
What he doing, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's an international. Well, he is head of the most powerful nation on the planet with the most advanced tech in the world, right? That's the Antichrist, right? He has influence globally, politically, monetarily, militarily, economically, right? Even religiously, right? They can influence all of that. But it happens to be this guy who's going to do things that are unorthodox, unprecedented, right? Even Biden, even though Biden did some crazy things, this is going to another level, right? And if I look at those prophecies, I would pick him. If I had a lineup to pick right now, I'll pick him as Antichrist. I mean, he's lining up.
I mean, when you look at the scriptures, about the Antichrist, and him pretty much demanding worship, and he's arrogant, he's proud, he's running Babylon. So
Yacoba, somebody say, no, he isn't. He's laying the grounds for the Antichrist. Maybe.
Okay,
but
so
he's looking like it.
He's laying the ground for the Antichrist. Let's think about that for a second. Okay. So he's going to lay the ground for somebody else who's going to come here and be an a-hole, who's going to force you to bow down and worship, right? Only what I say matters, right? Like this dude. He's going to come along and say, hey, I'm supporting the Christians, but I'm not a Christian. And, he's going to pass all of these laws to get rid of all of the Ezra Alawi influence in America, right? Shutting down all of the, the military achievements of black soldiers, shutting down the museums of our enslavement, firing all of the Ezra Alawi women, destroying the economy. But hey, I'm just saying that somebody else gonna come in and gonna do worse. I'm asking.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you could beat that, because it is what he's doing is lining up with prophecies that we see. But I mean, the question would be this: does the Antichrist rule the woman, Mystery Babylon, or does the Antichrist rule the beast? I know people tend to say he's the little horn, but after investigating that, the little horn is not necessarily the Antichrist, and I don't think it is. Right? The little horn is a little nation, a nation that comes among the 10 at the last hour, right, for a short time, right? So he very well could be the Antichrist. I mean, we also have the mark and the beast in place. The technology is there. Elon could put chips in your brain and control your thoughts and implant thoughts.
And Elon, his boy, and Elon, the one with the neurochip.
Yeah. And I mean, we got the implanted chips, right hands, right? They can do all of that for commerce. They're already pushing the digital ID to enforce everything. Everything's in line. So if you're going to pick the Antichrist, it lines up more with him right now than it does later.
And see, the other thing is you have to look at the scriptures with a fine-tooth comb, right? Because we think we understand stuff, and I'm not saying I understand anything, right? I'm just telling you what I think I see. And, we see that there's this figure, right? The Bible calls him the beast, right? And you have this beast who rises out of the sea, and then you got, which is also the system itself, but usually the system has a head associated with it, or a Caesar or a king or whatever. And then you got the false prophet, right? It depends on how you want to see these things. And so, like, for instance, we know that the 10 rule 1 hour with the beast. Well, is that with the physical man, the Antichrist? Or do the 10 rule 1 hour with the beast system, right? The system is the economic system, the political international order, right? Which is what the multipolar order wants. They still want the United Nations legal system or rules of law, right? But they don't want America to direct anything. So, as we see in the scriptures, it appears that, you got Revelation 12, that they're going to attack the Israelites who live in Babylon. We're going to have to go in the wilderness. And then this person who's ruling Babylon at the time, right, tries to take us out. And we got this same guy here who set up military or National Guards in black cities. I don't know what to tell you. Right? I'm like, y'all expecting Obama to come back. Some of y'all.
I used to think this. Somebody said that the Antichrist is going to be loved by the world. Scripture doesn't even say that, though.
Yeah, the scripture doesn't say
there's no passage that says the world's going to love him. He's called the son of perdition. He's called the lawless one, right?
Yep.
So,
and is that not what? Is that not what he's doing? He's lawless. Not only does he not obey Torah, he doesn't obey the international rules of law, the international laws. He's literally the lawless one. He does what he want to do. I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know what y'all expect, because some of y'all, I think, was looking too much at the Left Behind series and expect this suave guy. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Cool looking dude.
Maybe some of them still believe in the rapture.
Maybe.
Because they don't want to be here. And if Trump the Antichrist, they're like, oh. Right? But
I'm going to say it like
there
this.
is no rapture, right? There's the second Exodus.
Exactly. And I'm going to say it like this, right? Like I said before, we not going to know till it's that time, right? Maybe another guy rise up. But I'd have to say this. If you look at the scriptures by themselves, this dude fits. I'm just saying, not based upon Christian eschatology and all of these ideas that people had over the years. Like, for instance, people say, well, he's going to be a homosexual. The scriptures don't say that. The scriptures don't say he's going to be a homosexual, right? But people have these ideas in their head. And so, like, I can't be honest. Look, I can't imagine another guy coming up who's as bad as this dude. Not only that, he's associated with the Rev 2939s.
And
they tell him what to do.
Don't forget the Epstein files and the child issues.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Maybe he's not, but man, he sure is a close second if he and whoever coming gonna be a whole lot worse. We best be out of here if that's the case. But I'm like, have you seen anybody as arrogant, as power hungry, right? As mafioso?
Only one. Netanyahu.
Yeah, but he don't run Babylon.
No, he don't run Babylon. Well, he does by proxy, maybe. It's hard to say. I mean, really, America created that nation, but
I would agree with that Netanyahu might be a little worse. He might be. I could give you that one.
Yeah.
But we'll see as time goes, because nobody knows for sure. But I think he's a decent candidate. I ain't gonna lie, And I do believe that what I'm seeing denotes our exodus. But the Bible says that a lot of people ain't gonna make it. That man shall be as rare as fine gold, right? So if you ain't living for the Most High, you better start living for him. You better obey his law, statutes, and commandments, and you definitely better trust in the Messiah, because you ain't getting in otherwise. Some people believe that they expecting some other Messiah figure. Like there's some Israelites who are actually looking for another Messiah. I'm like, I don't get y'all. Y'all must be agents or y'all like converted to that religion in the Middle East or something. You know. Minister Tay, your final thought?
Yeah, I would just okay. Let's go back. In 2015, we put out all these teachings about these events: Ukraine, Russia, Iran, and they're happening now, right? We said after 2019, all hell gonna break loose. Now we got people lying on us to this day about what we said and what they claim we said versus what we really said, right? And what we said was after 2019, all hell gonna break loose, and World War III gonna happen, and we're gonna go home. They go ahead and change the order that we put out there, and then attempted to gaslight us. Some of y'all were around at that time, but anyway, I point that out to show that for the most part, you can see our reading of the prophecies. The scriptures, Yah's prophets of old already told us what's going to happen. It was just a matter for us to study them diligently to try to figure out, well, when is this going to happen? Are we living in it now? What are the signs? Can we validate the times we're living in? And more, the scriptures are coming to life now. We can see these things, right? We know what the mark of the beast is. We know about the AI who cause all to work, who don't worship the beasts, right? To be killed. Right, that's AI, right? The image of the beast is AI, right? We guessed that before they revealed AI. We said that was AI because it was pretty clear, right? And so now we're getting to a new phase where we can definitely see there's a change in the global governmental structure being worked on, and we already know their end goal is a world system that does not honor Yah. Now, coming out of Christianity, you start to see the biggest religion is a big religion for one reason. It rejects the law. But it's that very law that Yah punished Israel for disobeying. Make it make sense. You think Yah said he put his word above his name, and all of a sudden his law ain't valuable no more. Oh, he owes Israel an apology for all the captivities for breaking his law. Make it make sense. But that's what Christianity teaches you, right? And I understand it because in Christianity, you feel relief that you don't have to be accountable to the law, right? You feel relief that I don't have to worry about when I sin because I have head knowledge. I believe in the Messiah, therefore I'm covered, right? So now the law is done away with when the Messiah done punished Israel for thousands of years for breaking that very same thing. Make it make sense. So I say that because I'm saying we have to be as honest to the Most High's word as we can. We have to take his commandments and his words literally. If Daddy said don't do it, don't do it. If Daddy said it's okay, it's okay. That's how we got to walk. Most of these pastors and these so-called urban apologists, they lie. And they make stuff up. Why? Because they cannot defend the text. But this is a time where you got to say, I'm ride or die. I'm ride or die with Daddy. I'm ride or die with Father Yah and Yahusha. I'm ride or die. This is your mindset. Whatever you say, Daddy, I'm going to do my best. If I fail, I'm coming to the altar and I'm going to apologize. That's the mindset, not this, oh, it's on the cross. I ain't got to worry about it no more. And so when I mess up, you just living like a heathen. I know it ain't easy now, but the Bible says it's a difficult path. It's a narrow path. And there are few who find it. Right? But the way to make it is say, Daddy, tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. Right? Don't get religious no more. I'm done with religion. I'm done with religion. Religion just makes you feel good while you sinning. It takes effort in prayer and communicating to the Most High every day, right? Correcting yourself, calling on Father Yah, submitting to him every day, saying, Father, I messed up. Help me not to mess up again. the beautiful thing is the Most High said he gonna give us a new heart and we won't sin against him no more. That's beautiful. But your mindset better be like, I want to make sure I get in, so I'm not taking no chances. Those who understand that, they stand a better chance of getting in, right? That's all.
So Christopher says he can't be it. He don't fit the characteristics needed. And Mystery Babylon is destroyed first, which is not true. Putting the world in chaos, and then he appears with the solution. The world, then he will be given power. That's Christianese right there.
That's Christianese.
That's not
that ain't
that's not
scripture.
Bible.
I've been taught that for decades in Christian church, but guess what? It ain't there.
Yeah, that's Christianese, man. That's not Bible. And one thing we do know about the Antichrist, right? The Bible says in 1 John 2:22, who is a liar but he that denied that Yeshua is the Messiah? He is Antichrist that denied the Father and the Son. Trump says he's not a Christian, right? 1 John 4:3, every spirit that confesseth not that Yeshua the Messiah is come in the flesh is not of Yahuwah, and this is that spirit of Antichrist. He don't accept the Son. He denies Christianity. He's not a Christian. He say he don't think he going to heaven. 2 John 1:7, many deceivers are entered into the world who confess not that Yeshua is come in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. By definition, he's an antichrist. Is he the antichrist? Who knows? But if we look at his attributes or what Revelation tell us, because you got to be able to understand, Revelation talks more about the beast, right? And the false prophet, not so much the antichrist. And the antichrist, because there are many antichrists, right? The beast would definitely be an antichrist, but the beast is also a system. But I would have to say this, see, this is why we need to go back and reevaluate what we've been taught. Because a lot of us have preconceived notions and the Bible doesn't teach what he said. I mean, not to put him down. I mean, I'm just saying.
And as Big Red said, he didn't put his hand on the Bible being sworn in. I
yeah,
mean,
he didn't put his hand on the Bible.
he knows who he is.
So, I mean, right now, I would say as far as being an antichrist, he fits the type. Is he the antichrist? Who knows? But I'm like, based upon the prophecies of what's supposed to be happening during Babylon, right? And how we end up getting out of here because the dragon come. I'm like, I'm sorry. It seems like all of the pieces are set up to knock the dominoes down, right? All of the pieces are in place. All you have to do is hit that little tile and all of the, the tiles are going to fall down. That's the way I see it right now. I could be wrong. Maybe he's not the Antichrist. We're going to find out because,
I was just going to say, Obadiah, Babylon is not destroyed by the beast and his allies. Babylon is destroyed by the 10 kings who control the beast being the world system, and the 10 horns being those nations and kings that control that world system. That's different than an individual.
You talking about
beast.
this right here?
Yes.
Babylon destroyed by the beast and his allied kings?
Yes.
Yeah, because the beast is a system. See,
yeah. So that's the little horn
concept,
but that's not. Yeah. The little horn is a nation, just like the 10 horns. But each horn has a ruler, right? But that it's the 10. It's the nations. It's the 10 according to Scripture that defeats Mystery Babylon. The little horn comes up way later, right?
So we know that the horns represent authority, right? And the horns are control. They control. So they're the governing body. The beast, if you study Revelation, is the system. Now, there appears to be an association between the beast and, whoever's running it. But, it seems, at least the way I see Scripture, that whoever this beast person is that's running the system during the time that Babylon exists, it appears to be what we would call the Antichrist, right? So,
yeah, but I was just saying specifically, the scriptures say the 10 destroy Mystery Babylon, right?
yeah, the 10, yeah.
So when the 11th
Yeah.
horn come, he comes after that.
Yeah. And to me, when the Bible says, and I'm not saying I'm right, but it depends on your interpretation. The 10 that rules 1 hour with the beast it could be just the 10 ruling with the beast system, because the beast system is already in place, right? The economic system, the political system, the international laws, all of these things, or can we say the United Nations, right? Even though that may change. The system, the beast system is already in place. So the 10 can give their authority to that world governmental body because they want a multipolar order. And that whole beast system that we call the United Nations today could be what they rule with, not necessarily the man that we identify as the Antichrist. So there's some peculiarities there that we have to look at. Not saying I'm right. I'm just telling you, this is what I see, right? So nobody has a fixed idea on who the Antichrist is. It's all a guess. So, your guess is as good as mine. I just think that right now he's a good candidate, right? He's a good candidate. So,
yeah, I was just lining up the fact that specifically who's destroying Mystery Babylon, the Great, the Mother of Harlots, is the 10, right? Well, the beast system that's ruled by the 10. So it's just those 10 kings. There is no other nation that we call the beast or that we call the 11th horn at the time that Mystery Babylon is destroyed, right? It is the 10. They are ruling. They come, they push her out, destroy her, burn her with fire, and then another horn rises up among them at some point in time.
Assuming, this is just my position on it, assuming that little horn didn't happen already in the past, right? Because like I said in one of my shows, there's a dual, there could be a dual fulfillment here, right? Like for instance, personally, the Bible talks about the little horn, he shall change times and laws, right? Which could have already happened under the Vatican, right? But at the same time, it could happen again in the future, right? So I'm open to it.
Yeah, but you have the fact that you have Mystery Babylon, the Great, the Mother of Harlots specifically. She didn't exist in the past, right? Where the nations bow and worship her and trade in her goods and stuff like that. But the 10
but the little horn is only in Daniel, not in Revelation. See, so that's where the difference.
I understand, but it's the 10 that destroys the woman, right? It's called Mystery Babylon in Daniel. Well, in Revelation. What is it called in Daniel? Just Babylon. Just Babylon.
Yeah, in Daniel, you have the 10 toes, but you also have the fourth beast, right? The fourth beast.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, all right.
But yeah. So fam, that's all we got. We wanted to share that with y'all because anything can happen at any time, and things are moving pretty quick. So just like what happened in Germany when their power system went out and people were out of power for a few days because they got attacked. That can happen, especially since America has taken the leader of Venezuela. Who knows what's going to happen, right? Some of the repercussions if America doesn't do some diplomatic things. And right now America does not look like they want to implement any diplomacy. So we'll see what happens.
So I just wanted to add, when Trump took office in 2025, it felt like a bucking bronco when they opened the gate, and all of a sudden we were holding on to that bucking bronco, and Trump was just doing stuff in the first 6 months that no president ever did, and we like, what is going on here, right? And now we hit 2026, and I think this a tougher bronco, right? And maybe what we'll see in the next 3 to 6 months is even more than what we ever saw in 2025, right? So how they say, hold your horses and get ready.
All right, fam. So if y'all want to support us, you can. You can go to tailministries.com, click on the donations tab. There's other options to give. You can also Cash App us, $TOTW7101. Also, you can like, share, and subscribe, and pray for us as well. That's the most important thing. We are in some serious times, and a lot of people going through a lot of things. And, we pray for the family and pray for your healing and restoration and prosperity, and that the Most High meets every need and protect you and your family. So love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessing, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the True Jerusalem, the lost kingdoms of the Israelites. The groundbreaking work by me, Jacoby Vale. A journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Jacoby Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to a hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey to the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem.